Good morning. How you guys going? So I'm on my morning walk and I have really bad DOMS in my quads, and I was just doing a live stream in a group and almost stacked it. Oh well. So I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hey Dale, how you going? And I wanted to do a quick live on what freedom means to you. Now, when I talk to a lot of people, they tell me that why they want to grow their business, and a lot of people's kind of surface level thing is, oh, I love helping people, I want to make money and things like that. But when I dig deeper to the real emotional reason and their big picture vision, they tell me that they want freedom. And freedom is so important to me as well, and it's really why I started my business. Now, about 8 years ago, I was living off Centrelink, which is like welfare, and I had literally no money. I had to work until I was 39 weeks pregnant. My daughter came on her due date, so I worked up until 1 week before I gave birth. I couldn't afford a car, so I would walk to my work and home, even in the pouring rain. And I worked in a call center all day and into the night. And I saved up what money I could on hardly any, what was I getting paid? $20 an hour. And that kind of kept us going until the welfare kicked in. My partner at the time was on a tourist visa, so he wasn't allowed to work. And when we got welfare, it was $500 a week. Now, $300 of that went straight to rent. Most of the rest of it went to bills, and we lived off $50 a week for groceries. We couldn't afford meat. We pretty much ate beans and chickpeas and lentils and pasta and oats and frozen veggies. Sometimes we had to go to the church. I'm not religious, but they really did help us out in that time, where we went to the church and they gave us fruit and veg and things like that. And we had to walk everywhere to get the groceries with a little granny trolley, and it was tough, and it made us stronger though. And at this time we were stuck in our little bubble. We couldn't really go far because we could only go to the places where we could walk. And it really built up a lot of resilience. But what I found during that time was any little thing would really wear me down. And I remember one day, some of you may have heard this story, one day my partner at the time got a letter from immigration or whatever it was, to say that his visa had been denied. And we've been going through this whole massive process, spending money that we didn't have, and to be told that it was denied. And I remember curling up in a ball on my living room floor in like the fetal position, thinking, why does all this bad stuff keep happening to me? I can't handle any more of this. And I was crying my eyes out, feeling sorry for myself, feeling like the world was happening to me and that I didn't have any control. And I decided in that moment that I did have control, that I wasn't going to stay on welfare forever, that I was going to change my life and change my family's life. And I decided in that moment that I was going to start my own business. So I started studying to be a personal trainer when my daughter was 3 months old. And I still didn't have a car. I used to ride a push bike to all the classes. And I think it was like a Wednesday night and a Saturday morning, thanks Lily, love you. Hey Harry, hey Julie, hey Dario, how are you guys going? And so I would cycle my bike to get to these classes. I would express breast milk for my daughter. My partner at the time would look after her. And I think I finished within 3 to 6 months, something like that. Now, when I finished the course, most people in the course didn't do anything with it, or they went and worked in a gym. Now, I didn't want to go and work in a gym because that would have been like going back to the call centers that I used to work in. It would have been working for someone else on their rules. And I wanted to create my own rules. I wanted to create my own life. I wanted control over my life. So the first week out of personal training college, I started a mum's boot camp business. I just lost 29 kilos in 7 months after having my daughter because we couldn't afford much food and because I had to run and cycle and walk everywhere. And so it was quite easy at the time because I was poor. And I'd lost a whole heap of weight, and I wanted to help other mums to do the same who were in a better position than me so they didn't have to go to extremes. And so I started this personal training business. It was mums boot camps. I was the first one in Brisbane, in my area, to do mums boot camps with babysitting included. Now, most of the boot camps at the time, this was 7.5 years ago now, you were allowed to take your kids, but you had to be pushing them in a pram. And I knew for me that I wanted my daughter nearby. I didn't want to have to drop her off somewhere because I didn't have anyone to drop her off to. I didn't have any local support. And I wanted her nearby, but I wanted to have time out to myself. And so I decided these mums aren't putting themselves first. They need time out for themselves, but they also want their kids nearby. So I started this boot camp with babysitting included in the parks, where the babies would be looked after nearby and the mums could have an hour out to themselves to get some exercise, to have time for themselves and to meet other mums. So I was the first one to do that, and a lot of people ended up copying after that, which is cool. And I grew that business really successfully. But the whole point of this is my why was I wanted to create a better life for myself and my family. And I decided in that moment when I was curled up on the living room floor crying my eyes out that I would take control of my life, that I'm the only one who is responsible for my actions, my reactions, and what I do in my life and what I create in my life. And so my why being that I wanted to create a better life for myself and my family and lifestyle, that is freedom, right? Because when I was in that position, when I had no car, when I had no money, when I was stuck to only the areas that I could walk around or cycle my bike to, that is not freedom, okay? Hey Sarah, how are you? And we didn't have freedom. And back then I wanted freedom to be able to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, with whoever I wanted. I wanted to be able to go back to England where my family live anytime that I wanted to or needed to. I wanted Nuno to be able to go back to Portugal anytime he wanted to or needed to. I wanted to be able to do cool things in Australia. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to help people. I wanted to give back to charity and family. I wanted to be able to invest in myself, in my learning and development. I wanted at a basic level to be able to afford to go to the shops and buy clothes or things for my daughter. When she was born, we couldn't afford that. We had to get everything for free off Gumtree, which is like Craigslist for anyone who's in the US, or from friends. We couldn't even afford to walk into like Target or Kmart or somewhere like that and buy something that cost, only $5. So that was my why, and I want to know from you guys, what is your why and what does freedom mean to you? Because I keep thinking there's like snakes around me. It was just like a heap of flies. That's gross. Hey Stephen, how are you? So I want to know, what is your why and is it currently serving you? And what does freedom mean to you? Now, and comment here, guys. So freedom to me means that I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. It means making my own rules. Okay? Now, when I had this why of wanting to create a better life for myself and my family, I realized that when I got to around 10K a month, it wasn't important anymore because I already had it. And so my why needed to change. Now, it needed to change because I already had that. I'd created a better life and lifestyle for myself and my family, so it wasn't pushing me forwards anymore. And so that why then became bigger. It became more about freedom in helping more people, in giving back to charity and giving back in the world. And at a deep personal level, it became about fulfillment. I wanted to feel fulfilled every day. And if I was scrolling through Facebook and wasting time, not reaching my goals, not connecting with people, not doing the things that I said that I would do, then I didn't feel fulfilled. And so it came from a more personal level rather than an external level. And your why needs to change as you grow and as you change throughout your business and your life. Morning. So, going back to the title of this video, hey Amelia, how are you? So going back to the title of this video, why I believe that the freedom thing needs to change for some people is because a lot of people tell me that they want freedom, and then they go on to tell me that they want to buy a house, or they want to own a gym, or they want to, have something that's keeping them stuck in their local area. But in another breath, hey Pip, how are you? In another breath, they tell me that freedom to them means that they can travel around the world, that they're location independent, that they really love travel and they want to just want to go around the world and not have to be stuck to a certain location. So that's when we have a mismatch, and that's when we need to change our goals. If your goal is to own a gym or buy a house, but you want to travel around the world, then maybe that needs to change. And maybe you're saying you want to own a gym or an office or a house or something like that because it's what you believe success means. It's what you've been told by your parents, your grandparents, society, that will make you successful. And it's just not true. And in this day and age, things have changed. And so it's reevaluating what freedom means to you, what success means to you, and what your goals really are. And making sure those goals are in alignment with what you really want, how you want to feel, and how you want to live your life. I used to want the same. I used to want to buy a house. I used to want to own a gym. And then I realized that that actually wasn't in alignment with how I want to live my life. And probably because I've been through that, that's why I notice it with my clients as well. Right now, I'm glad I don't have anything like that, because I'm about to, in a month's time, pack up and go traveling around the world. And I have the freedom to do that because I'm not locked into any particular location. Hey Greg, how are you? Amelia said, yep, I want freedom, and step 1, lose the house and mortgage. What to do with the kids, homeschool, how do they see their dad? Yeah, perfect. So are you separated, Amelia, or are you with the dad? So this is something that I've wanted to do for years. I've been trying to, so my ex, we've recently separated. He has the AD personality, auditory digital, which is very much where you kind of overanalyze everything. You need to get all the data, you need to research, and he takes like something that might take me 3 days to make a decision on, it will take him 3 years. And there's positives and negatives of both. With me, I'm kinesthetic. I go by feelings, I go by like a gut level feeling, and I take very fast action. So 3 or 4 years ago, I wanted to pack up and just travel around the world, and he didn't want to. And I've been trying for the last few years to get him to do this. But, everything works out perfectly and at the perfect time anyway, and it's all for a reason. And now, over the last year, we've actually been planning to go in June of this year. And, but just a few months ago, we separated. And so even though our whole life has changed and we're not together anymore, we have decided that we are still going overseas. I'll be leaving with the kids for a short holiday in a month's time, and then we'll be going over to Europe for about 6 months. At this stage, that might change as well. And so we're still doing it. And the thing is, so you want to look at, Amelia, do you have any ties to any particular countries? You know, do you want to go to any particular countries because you've always wanted to be there, or you've got family or friends there? With my ex, he's Portuguese, so we'll be based in Portugal but traveling around Europe. And we've looked at different schools there. Private school where they just speak English is too expensive. That public school where they only speak Portuguese is not really suitable. But I think he's found another option where they speak English and Portuguese. So we'll probably be going with that. But we did also look at homeschooling and tutoring as well. There's so many different options. And my kids here in Australia, they don't do mainstream schooling anyway. They do Montessori. So there's so many different options. And it's a good incentive as well to be able to make more money, so you can create that freedom. You could have someone who's a nanny / tutor travel around the world with you, and then you're still able to work on your business, and you're able to be present with the kids when you're not working and have time out and do cool things. They don't need to be in school, 9 to 3, Monday to Friday, as the typical schooling. You could have them tutored for a few days a week or homeschooled for a few days a week. And then you could go out and do an activity one day a week where you're taking them to a castle or taking them to a science center or something like that, where they're still learning, but it's hands-on learning. And, my kids how old are your kids, by the way, Amelia? My kids are 5 and 8, and that my 5-year-old's been to 12 countries already, and my 8-year-old has been to 14 countries already. And they have learnt so much from traveling around the world about different cultures, different languages. They can speak English, some Portuguese and some Spanish. They've met family and friends all around the world, very similar ages. Yeah, cool. And, my little boy actually, last year, I was looking at Instagram and he pointed to someone and he said, "She's fat." And I said, "Gabriel, that's not nice." And he said, "But she is, she's big." And I had this conversation with him where I taught him about, there's all different types of people. Some people have white skin, some people have dark skin, some people are tall, some people are short, some people are big, some people are skinny, some people have, are in a wheelchair. There's all different types of people, and everyone is beautiful and amazing just as they are. And all these different types of people make up the world. And he said, yeah, like in that country where some people had no arms or legs. And he was talking about when we went to Cambodia last year, and there were musicians near the temples who had arms or legs or both blown off with the landmines. And so he was able to tie it into something that we had done and realize that, some people have disabilities or missing limbs, or, there's different people and it's all okay. So, I don't think he would be able to understand that at that level without the travel that we'd done. And, seeing different cultures and being able to interact with different kids, even if you can't speak the language, and seeing how different people live around the world, knowing that not everyone has a toilet, my little boy, who's only 5, rode a big bull elephant bareback in Thailand last year, and he wasn't scared at all, and he was up so high. They've had amazing experiences that I couldn't give them being stuck here, Yeah, definitely, Dale. Cool. So awesome, Amelia. Where in the world do you live? Yeah, so I think kids learn so much better being hands-on. It's so old school, sitting in a classroom and, rote learning like we grew up with. I'm a kinesthetic person. I learn from being hands-on. And so it's looking at what is their learning style, and you can do this with your clients as well. What is their learning style? Is it visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or auditory digital? And looking at how someone learns to be able to match that in so that they can learn easier, Okay, cool, Amelia. Awesome. Dale said, my daughter does not need to be babysat from 9 to 3. Exactly. So does anyone have any questions or comments? I guess as a ending comment or thought on this, I think freedom is whatever you want it to be. Success is whatever you want it to be. Success and happiness doesn't come from external factors. It doesn't come from how much money you make or how many properties you have or how big your house is or how many things you own. Happiness and success comes from inside of you, and it comes from who you believe yourself to be. It comes from being okay with yourself and loving yourself, warts and all. Hey Brian, how you going? And it comes from the internal, not the external. And a lot of people are constantly trying to fill themselves up with more things and doing more when that doesn't solve anything. It comes from within here. And so it's looking at what freedom means to you, what success means to you, how you really want to live your life. And the thing is, you can create whatever life you want. You might not be able to just click your fingers and get it straight away, but you can build that up over time. Some things are actually easier than you think. You don't need to have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to pack up and leave and travel the world. All you need to do is believe that you can do it and create an online business where you're not stuck in one location. And, you know, going back to Amelia's question before as well with your ex, you know, he might be on board and travel around, or you might travel around and then come back. If he doesn't see them for a little bit, it's fine, you know, like you're creating an amazing experience and an amazing life for them. So it all works out with open and honest communication. Dale said, so she now knows she can spend one day doing a whole week's worth in one sitting. She now gets 3 to 4 day weekends because she knows she can hurry up on some days and get the rest of the week off. That's awesome. I love that. That's such a great business lesson as well, right? I was actually in my 7-figure mindset group for entrepreneurs before, my free group. So go check that group out, guys, if you're not in there. 7-figure mindset for entrepreneurs. I did a live stream this morning saying about the hustle mentality, and that we've grown up with this outdated perception that you have to work hard and you have to work more and more hours to be successful, to be a good person, and to make more money. And, you know, what Dale just showed is that he's teaching his daughter from a young age that it's not about working more hours. It's about getting the work done in whatever time you want to be able to then have more time off. I think that's an awesome lesson. Hey Nikki, how are you? Yeah, when I get home, I'll pop the link here for you, Amelia. Dale also said you can do real estate, you can do online, you can do so many things with little to no money to start with. Exactly. And Dale is very successful, has been in business for a long time, so someone you should listen to, guys. Okay, what is Amelia said? I'm totally happy on the inside. It's all the stuff and ties and restrictions that makes me unhappy. Bring on freedom. Yes, love that. Exactly. You know, what I found is that when I wasn't happy with myself, I was, you know, I needed a bigger house and I needed designer clothes and I needed all these things, but they didn't make me happy. I was living out of alignment to what I really wanted, and I didn't know what it was. And to be honest, it was my relationship. We were growing apart, and he's an amazing person and we're getting along really, really well. We're actually living in the same house right now for a little while, so I can spend a bit more time with the kids. Hey Christy, how are you? We're getting along really great as friends, but we grew apart as a couple, and there was this misalignment between who we were and a mismatch, and that was holding me back from being in alignment and being connected within myself and being truly happy. And I just didn't know what it was for such a long time, but it was really holding me back. We were holding each other back. And now we're actually supporting each other to lift each other up, to support each other as individuals and as a family, as well as co-parents. And I'm helping him. He's kind of planting seeds and ideas around starting his own business and finding his purpose. And I'm supporting him in that journey. So yeah, we've come to a really good place, and I'm really happy with that. Dale said you need some spiritual scissors, cut the ties. When you own more stuff, it actually owns you. Yes, I love that. Totally. So guys, I'm gonna head off now. I've got to get the kids ready for school, or finish getting them ready for school. I hope you have an amazing day. If you've jumped on towards the end, go back and watch the start, and check out 7-Figure Mindset for Entrepreneurs, my free group. If you're not already in there, I will add the link here when I get home as well. And please, if you've loved this, share it around. Yeah, hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon.